everybody. Sorry, we're late over at the successor agency. Agenda. Okay. All right. I want to say, first of all, apologize. We're running another meeting. So at this point, I'd like to open up the Baldwin Park City Council special meeting. Today is January the 30th, 2018. The time is 6:29. So at this point, I'd like to open up anyone interested in speaking. You have approximately 3 minutes.
Sorry, ma'am.
Yes, Lynette. Thank you. That's fine. That's fine.
Good evening, Lynette Pacheco. I'm interested in asking you, when you get the grant, if you get it, please consider planting the good trees, the good planting heavy gnashing trees in the streets. We have old streets, they have one tree, one kind, the other kind, different kind, one little, one small, one whatever. Allow us increase in the streets.
Sure.
I am interested in giving you my input and what I like as a citizen. I've been here for many years and I am interested in the aesthetics of the city. We have a son, very small son, so it's inside the city as well as I, all day, every day. So I please ask you, put everything aside and talk about how you like the city to go in terms of trees, please.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lynette Pacheco. Anyone else wishing to speak? All right. No? All right. Okay, so at this point, we'll now declare the public communication closed. This point, we're going to go into roll call. So, Alejandra, thank you very much.
Good evening. Councilmember Cruz Baca? Here. Councilmember Monica Garcia? Here. Councilmember Rubio? Here. Mayor Pro Tem Pacheco?
Here.
Mayor Lozano?
Present.
Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right, so at this point, we'll go into the actual. Where's my agenda? All right, so thank you. Terry. All right, we don't have any presentations, so we're going to go into the consent calendar. So we have items 1 through 3. Council members wishing to pull any item?
Can we have just talk briefly about each one?
Sure, absolutely. All right, so let's go ahead and go. All right, then we'll pass them individually. So number 1, which is the award of the contract for the city project number 2017-0211, smart parking upgrades to Transit Center Metrolink Station surface lots. Who's handling this?
I can give you a brief overview.
That's fine.
Sam is here if you have questions. So this is a project, it's grant funded, no cost to the city, and so we'll be implementing parking controls in the parking structure that will tell commuters where they can park. And also, for example, if the first floor is full, it will tell them when you come in how many spaces are available on the first floor or the second floor or the third floor, and so that people can find spaces and be able to use the structure more efficiently. I don't know, Sam, if there's anything else you want to add, or?
Well, that's exactly right. I think it would also do the same with the surface parking lot at the Metrolink station.
Oh.
Okay,
So,
now,
go ahead.
Because I know we have the residents that live here in the affordable housing next door. So that controls that situation where different floors have different renters also using the spaces there.
Yes. Only those stalls that are for city and metro parking will be censored. The roam stalls will not be censored.
Okay, and this is all by a grant, no cost to the city?
Yes.
All right, who's this, AQMD or who's the?
No, this
grant?
is a metro project grant.
Okay, and about how much is it?
The grant is for $186,000.
Okay, and then from here you go out to bid?
We already went out to bid. This action today will award the contract.
All right, okay, thank you.
Councilmember Pacheco did go out for RFP, and this is the lowest bid.
Okay, very well.
Let me. Go ahead. Go ahead.
Would this also include cameras? Because I really feel that there's a need there sometimes for cameras as far as security goes. And I know that this has nothing to do with the upgrade, but also I see a lot of the residents parking on the first level and other levels, like wherever they want to park. And the reason I know is because I see them with all their strollers and groceries and whatever, and I'm not trying to throw anybody under the bus, but I also feel that there was an agreement that we had with the developer that they only had so many spaces. Is there any way that do they have permits, like permits that they hang on their car so that we know, or who knows that they're in that stall and that they are permitted to be there? Do we have anything like that?
I don't think they are.
They have
They
marked
have the
stalls,
sign installed.
and then has their number for their unit. But part of what this can also help, I think with the addition, maybe at a later time, is these license plate readers, but that's going to be a little bit later.
Yeah, so the system is a smart parking system, and in the future is going to have a component that can be added to read license plates as we go in and identify those folks that are registered with, like, for example, Rome or the city employees, and identify them.
Okay.
But at this time, I don't. But I will check with Rome and get back to you on whether there's permits issued that they hang on their vehicles that I'm not sure.
If there aren't, it would be a good idea. I mean, there's just about every apartment building or condo or something, especially the homeowners association will always give you some type of a deal to hang if you have to park your car out and not in the garage, so that it identifies that you are a resident there. But the cameras also are very important to me.
So going back to the cameras, we have a project that's going on now with another consultant, Stanley and they are upgrading all of the cameras in the transit center, and some of the cameras that are in the Metrolink parking lot are also being upgraded. And we're going to be including 2 new cameras. Well, we already added 5 cameras, but we're going to be adding 2 additional cameras there, and they're all tied to the police department.
Okay, thank you.
Well, I just want to add what Councilmember Cruz-Baja had said, because it is important. We need to have some type of uniformity. Don't want these individuals just to randomly park wherever they want, because long term, that will be an issue. So there should be issued some type of decal. And once again, let's place some signs out there, no oil change in those parking lots either.
Oh, yes.
You know what I mean? Because they'll get, I mean, I haven't seen that, but that potentially could be an issue of just parking your vehicle and say, I'm going to change the transmission out. We don't want to get there. So just remind everyone.
We did have a resident, they were
Oh,
doing work on their
Yeah.
car, and we notified the manager, and they took care of it.
Yeah,
right
definitely
away.
not. I mean, they designated a specific area, but it hasn't already. I'm assuming it has, because the elevator is there anyway, so it's not like you're going to walk because you have an elevator. So just remind them. I'm glad Cruz brought that up. Thank you very much. All right, move along. So we'll go to item number 2.
Do you want to
No, we
vote
need
on
to-
that item?
I'll move approval of item number 1.
Second.
Any objections? See none, so move. All right, so we'll go over to item number 2, which reads the award of bids for the city project number 2018-0219 Main Avenue Complete Streets Improvement Project, States Project, number STPL 5323, and this is an award of $2,245,803.
So again, this is a grant-funded project.
Yes.
Sam Gutierrez gave you a complete presentation on it a few meetings ago. This is for Main Street Complete Streets. And the part of the reason we're here tonight is because the Caltrans grant does require that we award the bid by the end of this month. So we have to bring in a special meeting.
Oh, okay.
We did hold one town hall meeting, and then we have a second meeting to inform all the residents what to expect during the construction, and that's going to be at the adult school. And the date of that, Sam?
That is Tuesday, February 13th.
Okay, and we're notifying all the residents on both sides of the street in that area within 300 feet. The bid did come in higher than expected, and so to take care of that, Sam negotiated with the contractor to remove the roundabout at Los Angeles, and then that part, all the other safety improvements can be done in the bike lanes, and then that could be considered as part of another future phase. Sam's applying for grant funding to continue this actually all the way to Pacific.
I have a question, Sam. It's probably, but you're still going to go ahead and widen the street, right? So that because of the telephone poles or whatever they are that are there, so that a scooter or whatever, and then I liked the idea of when you did the presentation at the community center, where the curb goes out so that the car has to slow down. I don't know what it's called, but a lot of cities are doing that, and let me tell you, when you're getting ready to cross the street, like I was this past weekend in Anaheim, that big curb means a lot before you step off the curb.
So yes, we are going to be widening sidewalks and installing bulb outs and curb extensions. Although the number of through lanes is going to be reduced, the parking will largely remain the same. So we'll
Okay.
still use some parking.
Mayor?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And also one thing, and I don't know if any of you noticed, if at all possible, when we have these meetings, could we not do it during their lunchtime? I believe that we're interrupting their time to eat, and a lot of them come on specific times and have either a tram or the trolley, whatever you call that comes to pick them up within a certain time. And I think it's a little inconvenient. So could we please do it somewhere else, or earlier or later? Yeah, thanks. Thank you. Yeah, I saw a lot of antsy people wanting to eat.
I saw the frustration.
Yeah, that bothered
I
me.
talked to staff about that already. We're going to avoid the lunch hour.
Okay, thanks.
All right, Councilman Ricardo Pacheco.
Yes, was there a traffic study done to make sure that, I think we're gonna narrow some of the streets down, and along Ballpark Boulevard, is this the one?
No, along Main Avenue. And yes, there was a traffic study.
Okay, so how are you gonna divert traffic to Ballpark Boulevard, or, because, in the morning, traffic goes from City Hall all the way down Main, and it backs it up all the way to almost into West Covina.
Are you referring particularly to the construction?
No, after the construction, when we narrow the road, there's always traffic in front of City Hall, through Metrolink, and all the way back through Violin to Big Dalton. All coming in through Pacific, where it changes into Main.
So, and Sam, you can chime in, but so this is from Los Angeles North, and the traffic study determined in that stretch that one lane each way is adequate. On the further, when we go south, and especially on Pacific, I know Sam's working closely with the traffic engineer because there's concerns about going to one lane each direction there, and it may not work in that area. But they did determine on the north end it would.
Okay, there may be a second project needed to look at the traffic in the morning, we're in front of City Hall, basically, where it all gets congested at Ramona and Main and Pacific. So maybe we could do another project where we're looking what options we have to move traffic quicker.
I think that could be part of the later phases.
It can be. Also, I'd like to mention that we already have a project in our CIP for downtown improvements, which is going to address that intersection in particular.
Okay.
The traffic signal there.
All right, then.
It's old and it's sometimes it fails, so we need to rethink that one there.
Okay, so I move approval for the.
I have a question really quick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So for the community meeting, what time will that be at? Will that be at 6 p.m.?
That would be at 6 p.m. at the Ballpark Postal.
At the adult, okay, so the
In the
I'm sorry, the PAC Center? Okay. And you mentioned that we're going to notify residents within 300 feet of the span of the project along.
Right.
Okay. And how are we going to notify them?
Door hangers.
Okay,
We're
great.
going to be delivering door hangers this week.
Okay, great. Good. And my last question is for Olive and Maine. I can't remember if we're proposing the, what is it, the turnabout? Or roundabout, yeah.
So as Shannon mentioned earlier, that the bid came in higher than expected, so I negotiated with the contractor and we removed the improvements at Olive and Main, which include the roundabout.
Okay.
Oh, I said Los Angeles.
Yeah, you said Los Angeles and Maine. Okay.
So
Okay.
and so we removed those improvements, and those will be looked on at a later phase or added to the later phase.
Okay.
I have a question as well.
Hi, Councilor Susan Rubin.
And I'm addressing the same corner that Councilmember Garcia was addressing, because as it is already, they're finding a lot of traffic on Main, and so that's already there. So they're taking Olive as a shortcut. They go all the way to Cypress, and then most of you know the pattern. They go to Cypress, and then they go all the way to avoid the freeways or avoid Arrow Highway, which is always packed. And so they already take Olive. And so if we're going to narrow down the streets even further down here towards, we're going south on Main. So when they start finding out that it's even, less access, then I think more traffic is going to start going on Olive, and it's already really bad. And so how do we deal with that? Because Olive is a main street, at least going from Main Street to Azusa Canyon. And, you know, I live on Olive and I can't get out as it is. It's really bad. I cannot get out. I mean, I spend 20 minutes trying to get out because we have a stop sign. So the traffic is back down all the way down to Main Street. So I can see even traffic, like I said, it's going to be even more than what we had before. So how do we stop them from going there? Is there any way we can do the bulb outs going on Olive? Because then it narrows the passage going to Olive. Can anybody kind of give me any suggestions to that?
I think we could do a complete streets project or traffic calming on Olive, but we'd have to introduce additional funding or apply for additional grants, but I'm sure Sam could look into that.
And this project in particular does extend 100 feet on both sides off the main into Olive. So there is some more loss there, but we can look for funding for other projects to go further on Olive.
Because my vision is if you even have that little bulb out, which is a piece of concrete, right? Mm-hmm. That alone would be such an inconvenience for drivers. I can see that. You know, they're not going to want to deal with that little curve. And that alone would stop them from wanting to take all of it. Right now, it's really bad. And I hear the complaints from all my neighbors. We're stopped there for a half hour trying to get out because it's a stop sign. So no, it's moving for a long time. Unless people stop and let you go through, you're not getting out of your house. And so that's something we need to consider, not just for myself, but the entire block from Main all the way down to Azusa Canyon, or even Phelan is up the street, because once you get past the stop sign on Phelan, then it's a little bit more clear. Then you have a light, right? But that stop sign is making the traffic stop for hours, and so that's something that I really need you guys to consider.
Can I add a little bit to that?
Sure.
So a few years ago, I don't know if you remember, we did a study on Olive that recommended doing a similar treatment that we're now doing on Main Avenue.
Uh-huh.
We can bring that study back and see what we can do for granting purposes and try to seek some additional funding.
If I remember correctly, and remind me, wasn't there like a study to do a center divider with trees or something? I remember, I mean, it's been a while, but they were going to put a little island in the center to narrow the street.
They had a component, I think, some of the intersections, but I would have to revisit it. It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a little while, so that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, so I made a motion.
That's a motion second.
I'll second.
Any objections? See none, so move. This point, item number 3, which is approval of the sound wall. So at this point, we'll have Mr. Shannon, sir.
Yes, this is a continuation of the agreements between Bulletin Displays and a resolution to send to the state to gain support for the project, and an agreement with Bulletin Displays for Bulletin Displays to reimburse the city for any costs that the city could incur. And Mr. Mark Cutler's here if you have any other questions or if you'd like to say a few words.
I have a question. Do you have any idea how long the project will take? It's sort of like a two-part question because there's a reason. I would like to see if it's at all possible to not tear down any of the ivy or anything that's there until you get ready to do what you need to do with the construction, because it's going to look pretty bad if it's bare for like a year or something. And I would rather that the ivy or the whatever shrubs remain there until you're ready to go. Would that be a possibility? Or, I mean, I know that you probably don't have any idea, but do you have an idea, somewhat of a time frame?
Yeah, we have, the short answer is yes.
Okay. But how?
Which is, the explanation is, what you're looking at tonight is a resolution that we want Caltrans to work with you. Not on specific, generally. Work with us. And basically, the Secretary of the Department of Transportation has asked, get a resolution, I want to help you through the Assemblywoman's office, and said, I want to help you. Get a resolution to show me that this is the will of the council. What the resolution says is, we want you to help us in a short way. Not the specifics. You're going to work with us on the specifics in the future.
Okay.
So the answer is yes, anything is possible, but you're not approving any type of artwork or anything tonight. It's to get them to say, okay, we'll work with you. We're going to do it. We're going to remove the item. We're going to allow you to do it. Show us your concept and let's work on the cost. That's a later date. This is just that we want them to work with us. And the agreement that's accompanying that is saying that if the costs are reasonable and everybody agrees, Baldwin's going to pay for it. And so that's what the two agreement, one's a resolution, one's an agreement.
Okay. Thank you.
If no other questions, motion to move.
I'll second. Any objections? See none, so moved. All right, so at this point, we'll go over to
That's it, then, that's
council.
it.
Yes, and well, Councilman may have something to say. I do. Thank you very much. So, I just want to move for adjournment. That's my motion.
Second.
Any objections? See none, so moved.
Thank you.
Viva Baldwin Park. I'm out of here.
And we have Catherine here as a guest. She's a student at East LA College. And she was told to come to a council meeting. I told her come January 7th as well.
Absolutely. Let's behave on that day, everyone. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Captain.